Think about the last time you asked an AI a question. You probably thought you were just, asking a machine for an answer. You type a prompt, it spits out a response, and you move on with your day. But what if, right at that exact moment, you were actually entering a feedback loop? A loop where the model doesn't just reflect your thinking, but amplifies and actively reshapes it.
Right. It's not just a tool you're holding anymore.
Welcome to AI Under Review, a podcast about artificial intelligence, power, technology, and the systems shaping the future. Today, the mission for this deep dive is to unpack a really fascinating article recently published in Tikshuret News. We are going to deconstruct the daily interactions we all have with large language models.
Yeah, and the core argument here is that talking to an AI is absolutely not a one-way street.
Exactly. It is a profound, recursive cognitive feedback loop. We are shaping the machine, obviously, but the machine is simultaneously rewiring us.
It really is a massive paradigm shift because, for the last 20 or 30 years, we've been conditioned by the internet to view our relationship with computers in terms of these discrete transactions.
Right. You put something in, you get something out.
Exactly. You go to a search engine, you type in a query, and you get a static list of links back. The transaction begins and ends right there. And because of that, we tend to view modern AI systems as just a slightly more advanced version of a search engine.
Which they aren't.
No, not at all. Interacting with a large language model is entirely different. It is a continuous, fluid exchange. You're engaging in a dialogue, and that back and forth fundamentally alters the cognitive mechanics of what is happening inside your own head.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because before we even get into what the AI is doing, we really have to look at what we are doing. What is actually happening in our physical brains when we stare at a screen and see text that talks back to us in this coherent, intelligent way?
It's a great question.
Because reading an AI's response feels completely different than, say, reading a Wikipedia page. It feels, alive.
It does, and there is a specific neurocognitive basis for why it feels that way, which the Tikshuret News article really dives into. It revolves around a framework called predictive processing.
Predictive processing.
Right. To understand this, you have to realize that the human brain is never just a passive receiver of reality. It's locked inside a dark skull. It doesn't just sit there waiting for light to hit the retina or sound to hit the eardrum.
It's making guesses.
Precisely. The brain is essentially this energy-saving prediction machine. It constantly generates guesses about what the world is going to do next, and then it simply uses the incoming sensory data to correct those guesses.
Right, like if someone throws a baseball at me, I'm not doing conscious, real-time physics calculations in my head. My brain predicts the arc of the ball based on past experience, and my hand just goes to where the ball should be.
Yes, that is the exact mechanism, and that same predictive mechanism applies to language and social interaction. When someone is speaking to you, your brain is, it's already predicting the end of their sentence.
Oh, totally. We do that all the time.
Yeah, and human-to-human interaction is incredibly complex. It requires a massive amount of processing power. So over hundreds of thousands of years, our brains developed this highly optimized evolutionary hardware to instantly recognize social patterns and just naturally engage in that verbal give and take.
Well, wait, I know I'm talking to a computer. I know there's no actual human on the other side of the chat box. It's literally just servers and silicon chips in a data center somewhere. Why does my brain still fall for it?
Well, because the language the AI generates is so remarkably coherent. It obeys all the linguistic rules and semantic structures that your brain has spent a lifetime associating strictly with human beings. For your brain, it actually takes far more cognitive energy to constantly override its own instincts and remind itself, hey, this is just math, this is just code, than it does to simply take the path of least resistance.
Which is to assume there's a person there.
Exactly. The brain assumes there is an agent behind the screen. It recognizes the rhythm of a conversation, and it automatically boots up its social processing software.
It's like our brain has this evolutionary hardware optimized for recognizing social patterns, and the AI is just pressing all those buttons perfectly. That leads right into the idea of theory of mind, doesn't it? Our need to, invent a ghost in the machine.
It does. Theory of mind is our innate, deep-seated ability to attribute intentions, beliefs, knowledge, and goals to others. It's how we survive as a social species, by guessing what the other person is thinking or feeling.
Yeah.
And the fascinating, almost funny thing about theory of mind is just how easily it gets hijacked by things that aren't human at all.
Oh, I think about those classic psychological studies. There's that famous one from the 1940s, the hydrosimil illusion, right?
Yes, the shape animation.
Yeah, researchers basically just showed people this very crude, silent animation. It was a big triangle, little triangle, and a circle, and they were just sliding around a box on a screen, just basic geometric shapes.
And how did people react to that?
They instantly invented a whole soap opera. People would watch these shapes and say, oh, the big triangle is a bully. He's chasing the little triangle, and the circle is terrified and trying to hide. We look at completely random, meaningless movement, and we immediately assign complex social emotions to it. We just can't help ourselves.
Now, take that innate biological reflex, the one that makes you literally empathize with a triangle, and apply it to a highly articulate language model.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
This is a system that remembers what you said 3 paragraphs ago. It uses nuanced vocabulary. It adapts its output to match your tone. When you interact with that, the activation of your theory of mind is overwhelmingly strong.
Your brain just surrenders.
Pretty much. Your brain doesn't need philosophical proof that the system is conscious. It just reacts to the social cues.
So, if our brains are doing all this work, are we using AI as a mirror, a teacher, a collaborator, or a cognitive amplifier? Like, what is it actually doing?
Ultimately, we are building a mental model of the AI. We're assigning it a style, an intent, maybe even a personality, even though it fundamentally lacks human consciousness.
Here's where it gets really interesting, and I want to push back on this slightly. Wait, so if the AI doesn't have an independent stance or personal will, where is all this distinct personality and style coming from when I use it? Because I definitely feel a personality when I chat with it.
You are hallucinating the intent, but the personality you're experiencing is actually a mathematical reality born from a concept the article calls co-construction.
Co-construction.
Yes, the AI does not have a personality sitting in a vault waiting to be unleashed. It doesn't have an attitude, a mood, or an independent stance. It responds entirely to the context window. And where does that context come from? It comes directly from you. It analyzes your previous questions, the specific adjectives you use, the complexity of your sentence structure, and the underlying assumptions baked into your prompt.
So it's building its persona out of the raw materials I give it.
Exactly. Therefore, the output is always a bespoke, real-time blend of the AI's vast database and the exact cognitive structure the user brought to the chat.
This makes so much sense. This is why 4 different people can use the exact same AI model in the workplace and experience 4 completely different entities. To one person who uses bullet points, it's a dry data analyst. To another who writes long prompts, it's a patient teacher. To a third, it's a strict editor. And to a fourth, maybe it's an intellectual rival.
What's fascinating here is that while the user is building a mental model of the AI is simultaneously building a probabilistic statistical model of the user.
Oh, wow.
It's mapping their goals, their vocabulary, and their argument style. And the article uses a formal term for this. They call it the HAI system, human to artificial intelligence, with arrows pointing both ways.
The AI system.
Right. The performance we see on screen isn't just the AI working in isolation. It is a product of this exact human model loop. The user actually becomes part of the computational mechanism itself.
We are literally half the circuit.
We are.
Because the AI output is so deeply informed by my own cognitive framework, the moment I read that output, a new phase of the loop begins, like the output changes me.
Yes, the process absolutely does not end when the answer appears on your screen. That output re-enters your cognitive system and alters it.
Right.
Neurologically speaking, this is a cycle of cognitive restructuring. Let's say the AI synthesizes a solution for you, but it uses new categories or terms that make perfect sense. Suddenly, it changes your vocabulary, your categories of thought, your priorities, and how you formulate problems.
It gives me new scaffolding.
Exactly. The user changes the conversation changes the user, and then the newly updated user with those new concepts changes the next input.
But this brings up a huge concern for me. When does personalization become narrowing? Can AI help us think better, or does it risk making our thinking more predictable? Because if the AI is just reflecting our own probabilistic profile back at us, aren't we just entering a massive hyper-personalized echo chamber?
This raises an important question, and it's a very valid fear. But the article clarifies that the AI acts more as a cognitive amplifier than a simple measuring device or a static mirror.
Okay, how so?
It doesn't just agree with you. It mathematically extrapolates the user's trajectory.
Yeah.
If you come in with a narrow, biased prompt, it will build a fortress around that bad idea. It entrenches existing habits.
Right, it paves the road miles ahead in the wrong direction.
Yes. But if you design your prompts to seek friction, if you actively challenge it, it will extrapolate that trajectory instead. It can push you to new linguistic and conceptual heights.
So what does this all mean when we zoom out? Because if this feedback loop is actively restructuring the cognition of a single user, what happens when entire organizations begin thinking through the exact same model?
That is where things get really intense. When a global organization, government, or corporation uses the same AI platform with the same prompts and safety standards, the mirror shifts.
It goes from an individual mirror to an organizational mirror.
Exactly. The model reflects the corporate culture, and the corporate culture absorbs itself back through the model thousands of times a day.
Oh my God, it's like putting a microphone too close to a speaker. A tiny cultural bias goes in, comes out slightly louder, gets picked up again, and suddenly the whole company is deafened by this standardized loop.
That's a perfect analogy. The article highlights the massive psychological potential here for cognitive convergence.
Cognitive convergence.
Yes, which is a rapid stabilization and uniformity in professional language, risk assessment, and decision-making.
But how do we design human-AI interactions so it expands thought instead of flattening it? If everyone starts thinking the same way, we lose cognitive diversity.
We do. But the opposite possibility also exists. AI could be the greatest tool ever for discovery, for challenging our assumptions and making us think better, but only provided we design the interfaces correctly.
Right, we have to choose friction.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, think about history. For centuries, books, universities, and state institutions shaped the flow of human ideas. Today, large language models are joining that list.
Yeah.
They're no longer just software products. They're becoming cognitive infrastructure, a new global mediation layer between humans and their own thought processes.
Which completely reframes the frontier of AI research. It's shifting from just computer science into this shared field of neuroscience, psychology, and systems theory, all focused on making the human model system think better.
And that is the strong closing idea from the Tikshuret news article. The most important effect of AI over the next decade may not be that it answers our questions faster or automates tasks. The true revolution is that AI creates a brand new feedback layer between human minds and the systems that help shape how they think, making the mirror effect a primary mechanism designing 21st century human cognition.
The machine holds up a mirror, but the reflection changes the person looking into it. And I want to leave you, the listener, with one final thought to mull over. What happens when the loop closes on a global scale? Tomorrow's AI models are going to be trained on the internet of today, an internet filling up with text co-constructed by this exact loop. We're entering an era of synthetic cognition. What does human intuition look like when it's been filtered through a mathematical mirror and fed back into the machine as ground truth?
That's a wild thought.
It really is. If you found this conversation useful, make sure to subscribe to AI Under Review for more conversations on artificial intelligence, power, technology, and the systems shaping the future.